Welcome back to Trucking and Politics. I wanted to talk to you tonight about something I feel the need to talk about. Um, Tony over at Tourette's Trucker, if you watch his channel. If you don't, you should watch his channel. He's a great guy. But he's been doing these videos similar to what this subject matter is, I guess. I wanted to talk about this. I've been thinking about talking about it for a couple of days now. It's more of the trucker related thing than it is politics, but it does have something to do with politics as well. Something happened tonight. I delivered today over in Greenville, South Carolina, and then I went over to Charlotte, North Carolina. I got reloaded. I just got parked. It's about midnight, 12:20 a.m. I'm really tired. I've been up since like 8 a.m. this morning. And that goes along with what this subject matter is that I'm talking about too. Being tired, being overworked as a truck driver, and being stressed out. Something happened today whenever I got over to Greenville. Like I said, I went over to Charlotte, got reloaded. Everything was going fine, but it's been raining like you were driving through a hurricane. I mean, it has been raining so hard over there today. And came back across over to Charlotte. A guy was leaving Charlotte. There was some road construction there, and a flatbed had broke down in the right-hand lane. The guy was, getting out of his truck, getting back in his truck. I got stuck in the right lane, and I could see the truck up there ahead of me that was broke down. He was kind of downhill. I was up on top of this hill so I could see. And I put my turn signal on probably 2 miles from the guy, 1.5 miles from the guy. And there was a truck driver in a white Cascadia, just like mine, sitting in the left lane. And I had my turn signal on, and we were like, window to window. We were sitting there. I would speed up, he would speed up. I would slow down, he would slow down. And I was thinking, why is this guy messing with me? Why is he doing this? And then I would do it, on purpose. I would speed up and then I'd slow down real quick, and he would speed up and slow down real quick. So I knew he was doing it on purpose. And finally, I rolled my window down and I just went, what? And he rolled his passenger window down and he said, "The people behind you, you're blocking the traffic." And I said, "I am?" And he said, "I want you to block the traffic. That way they can get over. You stay there." And I said, "Okay." Which that's happened with truckers. We've known this for a long time. You've got the blocker, blocking the traffic so it doesn't get bunched up. And he said, "I will let you in a minute. Just sit there." So I just sat there and sat there. And we kept getting closer and closer to the flatbed. And I was within probably 2 truck lengths of it. And I yelled and I said, "I'm getting over." And he just sat there and he looked and he was blinking his eyes like, "No, I don't think you will." I got that vibe off of him, that he was just messing with me. So I went to pull up to move over, he sped up real quick, closed the gap between him and the car in front of me. He was going to leave me out there on purpose. He was messing with me, and he was going to leave me out there hanging out to dry on purpose because he didn't want to let me over. So I just nosed my truck over and I started going over, and he just slammed on his brakes. The front end of his truck just went down. And I mean, this had been going on for 1.5 miles, and we were talking to each other through the windows. Well, we got out of the road construction. He come flying up beside of me, flipped me off, and just whipped over into my lane, pushed me out of my lane. I've got a dash cam on my truck. I could have let him hit me, and it would have all been on dash cam. It was just a case of road rage. I've got a friend that acts just like this. He acts just like this. He gets so angry, so mad if somebody does not let him in. But if he sees somebody else letting another driver in that same situation, he's just on the phone screaming at the top of his lungs, "No, no, 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 don't let him in. Don't let him in. Leave him hanging out there." But if it's him in that situation, he expects somebody to let him in. And I tell the guy all the time, I'm like, dude, it doesn't work both ways. It doesn't work both ways. Either you're a nice guy or you're a jerk. And he's like, I'm not letting all these trucks in. And I said, what if it was you that needed to be let in? Well, that's different. And I was like, no, it's not different. Well, I'm getting very irritated at that guy. That's supposedly a good friend of mine, right? I'm getting very irritated because it is a constant thing with him. It is a constant, this truck driver gripe, non-stop about everything. And if there's nothing happening for him to gripe about, he'll find something to gripe about. Which again is a typical truck driver thing. We're all stressed out, folks. Every one of us. I mean, truck driving in general. If it's a good day and everything's going good, truck driving in general will stress you out. Just the traffic, the road conditions, the weather, the tight appointments. I'm getting stressed out, just in general. I have another friend that I talk to a lot on the phone. I don't know what all he's going through in personal life. I know some of it, but not all of it. I don't think he shares everything that's going on in his life. But I can tell he's very, very stressed out. And he's getting angrier, it seems like, every time we talk. The other day we were talking and he just went into this epic meltdown rage, is all I can call it. And I just hung the phone up on him. I did. I just hung the phone up. A few minutes later, 30 minutes later, he called back. Well, I guess you lost your signal. And I said, I did? Well, I guess. We talked for a few more minutes. He went into his rage again. He was wanting someone to vent to. That's what I call it. He was wanting to vent his anger out. And he wanted me to be the person that got the blunt of his anger. And I said, man, I'm not the person that's causing your problem. And I like you. You're a good guy. But I'm not going to sit here and listen to just hours and hours of you ranting. You need to fix your problem. I can't. And I said, well, I don't know how to help you. Maybe you should go talk to someone. Like who? And I said, like someone that can diagnose you. That was his response. Huh. I mean, I'm a nice guy and I'm very patient. And I like to listen to people and I like to share stuff. Uh, and I mean, I get along with a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. I get along with people, but I don't do well with doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. That is what you call being a lunatic. You know, whenever you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, but you expect different results, that is, that's just being downright crazy. If you want to change, you've got to change. You know what I'm saying? If you want a change to happen, a person told me that a long, long time ago. It was a person I was friends with, and I was telling this person about the stuff that I was going through at that point in time. I wasn't really griping, I wasn't really being belligerent about it. I was just saying, we were having a conversation, a civil conversation. And this person said, sometimes the best way to fix your problem is just to walk away. And I said, what does that mean? And the person said, just walk away. Whatever it is, whatever's bothering you, whatever the situation is, just walk away. That's where I'm at with these two people that I'm friends with. It seems like they're getting angrier, they're getting more stressed out, and they are, because of the economy, because of Trump's tariffs that's going on. Everybody's stressed out right now. Everybody's going through it. Look what happened to us in Northeast Arkansas, where I live. We had 2 tornadoes back to back, and now we have like this 100-year flood thing going on top of that. My wife and I were standing in the garage the other day at the house. It was Saturday, I believe, and we heard this loud popping, cracking sound. Sounded like Bigfoot walking through the woods behind our house, and all of a sudden it was a sound like you can't make any other sound but this sound. A tree cracking in half and hitting the ground with a thud to where you could feel it. And I knew it was a massive tree. We opened the door and it was pouring down rain so hard you couldn't hardly see. And we looked out across the field and I could see a gap, in between the trees. And I was like, it's right over there somewhere because I can see the gap. And she was like, yeah, I can see it. It's right there. It's on the ground. You can still see it swaying. And as it fell, another tree went down with it. It took down another tree with it. So, we've got 3 or 4 trees down in our yard. The neighbor's house got tornado damage. Our house luckily didn't get any tornado damage. A person across the street did. They have about 100-foot tall pine tree that was uprooted out of the ground laying in their front yard. I've got so much stuff to do at home. I could take off 2 months straight and be working every single day at my house trying to get everything fixed that needs to be fixed. But I usually only get about a day and a half off from work. The whole first day, I want to sleep because I'm so tired. And then the rest of the next day, I'm getting everything ready to go back out on the truck with again. I'm getting very stressed out. I am. It's too much work. You know, it's like the old saying, too much work and not enough play. Well, it's not play that I'm looking for. It's just, you can't just work endlessly. You can't. Now, I did it whenever I was younger, working at the retail store. Was talking to a friend of mine about it the other day. I didn't even have days together off. I usually got 2 days off during the week, but never on the weekend. And my 2 days off were like a Tuesday and a Thursday. They weren't even back-to-back days. I would close the store on a Monday night, take Tuesday off, which by the time I got the store closed and got out of there, it was Tuesday morning because we closed at midnight or 11. And by the time we got all of the stuff done that we needed to do and got out of there, it was 12:30 in the morning. And then I would sleep in the next day. And then I was right back in the store Wednesday. I would work Wednesday, and then I'd have off Thursday and work all through the weekend. And I did that for 10 years. But I only had an apartment, and I was single. And I was young. And I had friends that would hang out at my apartment, or I'd go hang out with them and stuff. So it was a different life there. At this point in my life, it seems like I need to be slowing down, but it's like I'm speeding up. I'm working even more. And we just hear of businesses shutting down left and right, bankruptcies and businesses shutting down and owner-operators going out of business. There's a YouTuber that I really like. He just shut down the other day. His truck blew up. The engine blew up in his truck. He shut down. He's not going to be doing anything, or he doesn't know what he's going to be doing. We're all stressed out. Every one of us is stressed out. We are being pushed to the brink. And then you've got just jerks. Like the guy I was saying earlier. I don't think that guy was stressed out. I think he was just being a jerk, because I got up the road 10 miles up the road, and he was over in the right lane doing 10 miles an hour under the speed limit, and he was doing something really weird. He was sitting sideways in his seat like this with his back up towards the window, and he was driving like that. He was sitting here driving down the road with, his back wasn't even on the seat. His back was against the door. Driving down the road like that, doing 10 miles an hour under the speed limit. I mean, the guy was just a jerk. I mean, that's all that there was to it. And if there's some slim chance that he's watching this video, dude, you're a jerk. We're all stressed out. Every one of us is stressed out. Here's my thing. I have been in this type of situation before. I had somewhat of a mental breakdown in 2007, I guess you could call it. It was even more work than what I'm doing now, because I'm on e-logs. There's only so much you can do. back then in '07, I was on paper logs and I was working for an outlaw trucking company. They would just flat tell you straight out, if you're not doing 4,000 or 4,500 miles a week, we don't have any use for you. Go to work somewhere else. That's not what we do here. They paid really well. They were a really good paying company, but it wasn't worth it for what all the time you put into it. I mean, there was times that I would come in back then with that company. I would come in uh, Friday night, Saturday morning, and I was leaving right back out Saturday night. Paper logs, and we just turn and burn and go. Just enough home time to get some clothes washed, to get a shower, and turn and burn again. And I worked for that company twice. I worked for them the first time about 3 or 4 years. That first time, the second time I worked for them for about a year and a half. And I just told them, I said, man, I like it. I like the money. I like, getting out and getting it. But I can't handle this. I can't work like this nonstop. I've got to have a break. Okay, well, we'll let you have off a week. Would never happen. So, are we stressed out? Yeah, we are stressed out. I guess my whole point to this whole thing is, though, a lot of truck drivers don't want to look at what they're doing to themselves to get them in that situation. I got myself in this situation. I'll be honest with you. I ran the truck that I had, the owner operator truck. I ran it too long. I had a chance to trade it, and I should have traded it. I should have got a better truck. I knew I was pushing it too far with the truck, with the engine and everything. Then I decided to rebuild everything on it, and there just wasn't enough money and time and everything to put all that money into it. I just made some bad choices, and plus a lot of other stuff in life happened at the same time. It was just a series of bad events, and I'm no longer an owner operator. I'm back to being a company driver. Here's the thing. Even if nobody wants to listen to this, even if I'm the only one that will listen to this, there's a thing about me that I know, and I have been there and done this so many times and proved it to myself. I am not a person that will just sit and deal with a situation, that won't just endlessly gripe and gripe and gripe about it. It's something that I learned when I was in the white collar world. When you have a situation that you want fixed or you want changed, the very first thing is to address the situation. What is causing the problem? What is causing your stress? What is causing your issues? And be truthful about it. Be very brutally truthful about it. And then go after that problem with a vengeance until it's not a problem anymore. Just attack it. And I know what my problem is right now. I know exactly what the root of my problem is. And it is MONEY. Money. That is my problem. Because I've got too much going on and not enough coming in, or not enough saved up to where I don't feel like I have an option but to sit here and do this. And I'm not taking it out on anyone. But the longer I go with it, the more it's going to stress me out. And the more it is going to fester inside of me to where I break. And I don't want to do that. So that's why I've been doing stocks. And it's worked out so far. I bought 3 stocks last night. Last night was this is Monday. Last night was Sunday night. And while I was waiting to, settle in and calm down and everything, I bought 3 stocks. And with those 3 stocks, 2 of them has really went up today. So I know I can do this. I just have to do this. And I'll fix my problem. That's for me. Now for you, for other people, I don't know. I don't know how to fix everyone's problem. I don't. But I know how to fix mine. And that's what I plan on doing.